I'm going to go through a brief overview of how to set up a collaboration evaluation in Grade Portal. So, assuming you're at the, or I'm sorry, in PeBL. Once you're on the main PeBL page, to get your evaluations, you would click on the School tab. Now, for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to assume that you've already created an evaluation. This is probably a school-wide rubric that you're using. And so what I would do is click on Collaboration Evaluation 2.0 for the 9th grade, because that's the class that I want to create an evaluation for. And then before I can actually have my students do an evaluation, I need to manage events. I need to create an event that they're going to evaluate. So if I click on the Manage Events tab, I'm going to get a place where I can add my current project to the list of projects that they can evaluate on. And so what I would do first is I would select the course that I'm teaching from the list. If my course is not listed, I can enter it in as part of this field, and it will be added to that drop down next time. And then I would just enter in a project name, for example, sample 2, because I already have a sample 1 in there. And this will add that project to the list of available projects. I click on Save and Continue, and I get this little note up here noting that it was successfully saved, so I can go back to the rubric home. It gives me a warning, but I've already saved, so I'm okay. Now sample 2 as a project is included and it's available for students to evaluate. So all they need to do is create an evaluation. So students will access this same page and they'll click on Create an Evaluation. And that will bring up the rubric that we've set up for them to grade themselves with. A couple of notes on this page when they come here. They need to select the project, and again, since I've put sample 2 in, it's included in the drop-down. And they also need to select a student to evaluate. So let's say I'm going to evaluate Bailey for this project. One place where students are tempted to run into trouble is they might want to list the teacher whose class they're in at that time. They cannot list a teacher here. They would only use this if they were going to evaluate a teacher instead of a student. This is definitely an or field. You're either evaluating a student or a teacher. The evaluations will automatically go with the project. Once they've selected the correct student, they just go through and they evaluate that student as to where they think that student fell in the collaboration, and you'll need to explain the rubric to them. And it's worth noting that they are required by the tool to put in a comment to explain why they're giving that student the score that they're giving them. So they're required to provide a comment for all of these, except for this final field, which is comment to teacher. The comment to teacher box is specifically for specifically for feedback that they want to only go to the teacher, that they would never want the student that they're evaluating to see. And so this is a place for a private message. This is not required, but if a student does put information into that, it flags those responses, and you have to go through and there's a list of pending evaluations, and you have to approve all of those before they get totaled up in the final evaluation. So when a student is doing this, once they get done filling in all of these, they would just click Submit and Exit, or they could click Save and Repeat if they had an additional team member that they needed to evaluate. We're just going to go back to rubric home because we're not actually going to do an evaluation here. Once all of your students have run their evaluations, you would need to click on Show Pending. And Show Pending would bring up a list of, if there were anyone in here who had filled in information in that Note to Teacher field, those would show up here. I would simply have to approve all of those so that they would go into the list of final evaluations. Once all my classes have actually done their evaluations, obviously the next thing that I want to do is go in and look at those results. To do that, I would click on Run Project Reports. And I'm just going to show you the quick 2-click report, which lets you get just an overview of all of the students for your class. What I would do is click on Select a Project. I would click on the project that we're doing, and then I click on Get Student Averages. This will give me a list of all the students and all of the evaluations with their scores. I don't want to pull up a real one because I don't want to have real students show up, but if students had done this evaluation, their names would show up with the evaluation percentage that their group had given them. So that's a brief tutorial on how to use the collaboration feedback tool in PeBL.